What's up YouTube? My name is Johnny Bandon with Trepid Technologies, and today with video 5 of my EIGRP video series. Today we will be going over EIGRP STUB routing. We will be following Trepid Technologies Confluence how-to page to follow along for this video. So click the link below and let's get started. Alright guys, first I'm going to go to our Confluence page. So this is what I will be following for this video. The rest of my videos will follow this similar format. I will be going over this how-to essentially with you guys. So we'll do all the same steps and I'll explain the steps. And that'll be it. That'll be the video. I'm going to go through all these. And my next video series will be OSPF. Where I go through all this and a couple more blogs that I have to add. So we're going to be doing STUB routing today. So first thing I'm going to do, right guys, I'm going to read this. We're going to explain STUB routing. So STUB routing for your EIGRP is when you want to suppress query and hello messages. Now I know you may be thinking, doesn't passive interface do this? Well, it does. On that actual link, it'll just stop any EIGRP communication. But what a STUB network does is it actually suppresses query and hello messages. You usually want to run this on an EIGRP system where a neighbor has no downstream neighbors. Does that make sense? So you may have a hub right here, and a small office, satellite office, servicing maybe 4 customers, and that one ISR router, integrated service router, maybe a spoke and a DMVPN, maybe a site-to-site, whatever it may be. That's the end of that routing domain. So that router is a perfect candidate to be a STUB. And that's when we want to do STUB routing. Let's go back to Confluence. So like all good network engineers, first thing I'm going to do is go to my Git repo I use for all my at-home labs. CCIE_enterprise repo. I'm going to use Git to clone it. So I use VS Code for all my git, clone, push, pull, stage, and commit commands. So we're going to do git clone, provide that URL. I'm going to select the repo space. The home folder is fine. Let's go ahead and open that up. So the reason I get this is because this is where I'm going to keep all my baseline configurations. Okay. So now let's get our network environment up. If we go back to the Confluence page, you can see this is my network layout. So I'm going to bring that up in GNS3. As you can see here, I was doing some OSPF work earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and delete all this. And this is actually good that I'm doing this step, because I'm going to show you how important it is to baseline and get rid of any other routing process. And to have those applets I'm always showing you guys. So I'm going to start these devices, and the first thing we got to do is baseline. Let's go back to our Confluence page. Let's see what routers we're working with. Looks like we're working with routers 8, 10, and 5. So 5, 8, and 10. Add a base configuration. So the way I do my base configurations is I run 2 applets. One applet that defaults all the interfaces on the router, and then does a CLI result for rejects and gets rid of any routing autonomous system for BGP, OSPF process numbers, and EIGRP. So let's log in here. I'll run that baseline command. Interfaces. Those are the 2 applets I run. So let's go ahead and take a look at those applets. Let's go to VS Code to look at them. Go to my router base config. We'll go to router 10. Let's look at what it's actually doing. So again, we're defaulting all the interfaces actively used in our network diagram. And then we're running the show command and getting this reject result to a variable called BGP. And then we go back into global config, Then we type in no router BGP and then that variable. So if I had any BGP process running, any number, any autonomous system number, it would catch that through this regex, put it to that variable, and then using this $sign in the variable name, I can actually use that variable in my regular CLI command right here. And I do this for both OSPF and EIGRP. Then the interfaces command is going to go back through and configure all the active interfaces that I have on that router. So we did that for router 10. Now let's go to router 8, router 5. So again, we're just on step 2 of my Confluence how-to. We're just doing a baseline. And this is how I do it. You can baseline any way you want. You can write a race, mess that up, it's interfaces. You can just put a whole new router in there, maybe with the already saved good config. It's a lot of different ways. I just like doing EEM scripts, just a personal preference. All right. Now that we have baselined all these routers, let's go look at our next step. Our next step video configure named EIGRP. Let's go through and do that. We'll bring up my GNS3 topology, and then we'll bring up VS Code in this folder. I have named EIGRP config right here. So now I can just copy that, go through, and configure named EIGRP on all the routers by just pasting that in. We should see the neighborship come up. We can see router 8 made 2 neighbors, one to router 10, one to router 5. And we can see neighborships on 5 and 8. Go back to the Confluence page, see our next step. Now we're going to configure stub routing on R10. So R10 is a perfect scenario for stub routing because it has no downstream neighbor. Great. So it looks like all we do is get into this name mode right here, and then type in EIGRP stub. Bring in my GNS3 topology, bring up router 10. I'm already there, so let's type in EIGRP stub. We have these other options here, and you'll see when we type in stub that it actually adds things automatically for us. So we go show IP protocols. You see that it's a stub connected in summary. So now that R10 is a stub router, let's see our routing table. We still get all of the routes into R10. Now I'm going to go on to R10. I'm going to make a few more loopbacks. Just do some testing here. See the behavior of a stub router. So I'm going to type in 150.1.20.1, 255.255.255.0. I'm just going to make 3 loopbacks here. Third octet will match the loopback number. Then we have to go into EIGRP and actually advertise these routes. What I'm going to do here is do show run, hit enter, /EIGRP. Just a little shortcut for all you CLI wizards, Cisco CLI wizards. If you do show run and then the /, you can actually do a regex search. You don't have to do pipe section, just another way to do it. Now let's advertise all these networks. I know what you're thinking. There is a way quick way to advertise these, but I'm going to do it like this. We have no auto summary, so they should advertise like this anyways, but it's just a habit I have. So let's see router 8's routing table. Show IP route, just EIGRP. And we still see all those routes from the stub. So a lot of people think that stub routing is actually going to summarize for you in EIGRP. Well, it doesn't. As we can see here, we're still advertising all those /24s. If we want to summarize, we have to do EIGRP summarization, which I showed you guys in a previous video. So now let's just look at one more thing. So what we're going to look at here is a Wireshark capture between R8 and R10. So let's actually go into R8 first. Let's shut interface EIGRP 0, because I want a clean capture. Let's go in here, right click, start capture. And Wireshark should come on your install with GNS3 if you chose that option. If not, you can always install it later, and then GNS3 will automatically be able to use Wireshark. All right, so now let's bring up R8. Type in no shut, turn the interface on. Let's go back to our Wireshark capture. And what I want to look at here is a hello from R8 and R10. And we're going to see that R8 does not have any stub information because we did not enable that technology. It's not a stub. You'll just see a regular EIGRP packet. And if we go to a hello source from router 10, you'll see pure stub information. And I'll actually show you the stub options. So these ones here mean that they're actually set, these options, connected, summary, and redistributed. And these zeros mean that these other options are not set. Pretty easy, guys. So that's all there is to stub routing. Again, I really like to use Wireshark to actually see what's happening at the wire, right? It's great for learning and great for troubleshooting. So again, guys, thank you for viewing today. I want to thank you all for staying with me through all these videos. And from everyone here at Triplet Technologies, I just want to let you know to keep learning every single day. Thank you.